Good morning, everybody. I am Magiabella, and I'm the Sunday host for the Biophilic Alternative. Today I had a little bit of a difficult time trying to pick the topic. I'm going to ramble a little bit because so many different things have been happening, and I kind of wanted to share. First thing was on Thursday morning, I got to have another vibrational healing with Star and the crystal skulls. But even before that, I had been getting certain messages, and certain things had been happening in my life that were setting things in motion, and they were just pieces of the puzzle that were coming together, and I hadn't fully envisioned the entire process. I still haven't envisioned the entire pieces of the puzzle. However, so many more since the crystal skull healing with Star has emerged. When I talked about the astrology and that there was going to be a succession of letting go, that's what the Cardinal Grand Cross had been for all this time, and that this summer was the final let go, because now it is the final activation of the square and cross, and it is now pulling apart. Come September, when Saturn goes direct and is out of Scorpio and going back into Sagittarius, that will be a major marking point of it. But things for me have already come to fruition. There were some things that I let go. There was some people I let go. And in that letting go process, the universe affirmed to me that there, immediately upon each letting go, showed me signs of the type people that were supposed to come into my life. Now, this is on a personal level. This isn't really on a YouTube level or anything like that. It is more a personal activation. I had gotten the messages that Star's message to me was integration, and last time and also this time she said integration and activation, that the time was now, and that is basically the theme of one of my astrology videos. This last one was the power was in the now. So it seems like the messages just kept coming to me from different sources, and it has really come full circle for me. I've had the honor of my daughter asking me to officiate her wedding. I've been an ordained minister since 2008 and never really did anything with it. So now I have my package coming in the mail. It'll be here in a few days, and then I wake up to the Supreme Court ruling that same-sex marriage is now legal throughout the land. Now, I know that is a great victory for a lot of people out there. However, for me personally, it is a more personal victory, since my oldest child happens to be gay, and now she is afforded the right in any state in the Union to have the same rights as my other two children. That is of the utmost gift that could ever have been given to me, for me in my lifetime, to see that happen. I am one that believes that everybody has the right to live their life the way they want to live their life, and they all deserve their right to find happiness. And I think this was just a giant step forward for my daughter, personally, and several of my very close friends around me who also happen to be gay. And so I have celebrated that victory with them and stand in solid support with them. And now they know that I can actually perform their weddings. So it's kind of like things just took off. Like I said, I've been ordained since 2008, but there are a couple of requirements that you have to do after you get ordained to be able to perform a marriage ceremony, a funeral, that kind of thing, with the county clerks of your particular area. So I got all of the stuff that I needed ordered for that so that I could go down and be able to file the licenses after I signed them so that they are official and meet all legal requirements. So that is something that I never ever expected in my life. And after Star was telling me about that this was the activation time, and I already knew it because I was getting those messages, from different sources, but she confirmed it for me at that moment, and things have been just taking off exponentially. We have had a little local issue here with our main witchy shop closing down and a central, and I realized that the lady who is moving up to San Antonio, and she's going to start a retreat up there, has been telling people about my astrology. So she has opened the doors for my astrology business that I had not totally gotten off the ground yet, mainly because I just stay so busy with my day-to-day routines. So that has opened up. I have had several people come to me in the last week, and my friend was wanting to basically make a co-op, but she was going through something pretty heavy at the moment, and so the co-op our plans to create the co-op kind of got put on the back burner right now because she needs to be in a stable place right now. She's doing her life transitions at the moment, and we don't know exactly how long that will take for her to regain her balance after that. And so we kind of put it on the back burner, and there it was. I got called out of the blue and asked she needed to talk to me about spiritual things, that she was at a loss at which direction that she wanted to go, and that the people that she knew, she didn't feel any of them could help her. I had met her once, and she said my face popped into her head. That was an immense honor in and of itself to have somebody come through like that. And she is a healer of her own right. She has psychic abilities in her own right. Well, a lot of times we can't do things for ourselves as easily as we can do things for others. But it looks like that we have a strong foundation now for the opening up of our co-op as well. So these things that I'm coming to talk to you about was basically that the energy is ripe out there, and it's in the process of being able to let go. Now everybody has something different to kind of let go. These energies are in different parts of your houses in your chart, so the area of letting go is different, but the energy is still there and ripe for change, and positive change that you're ready to make happen. And this has just been reaffirmed in my life and in the life of many of the local friends and family that I have here. And so I just wanted to kind of share that, and the crystal skull healing, that's what appeared to me. The visions that I had in there those were very personal to me, so I'm not going to elaborate on those type things that I personally saw. But at the same time, just totally ecstatic with the healing and integration. But I wanted to also talk a little bit about the basic things to remember if you're on the healing path. I'm a Reiki master, but I dabble in other modalities as well, and so there is a common thread amongst all of the healing modalities. Star, I cannot do what Star does. Star is a very unique healer and has had a very unique pathway to getting and developing all of her unique healing style and skills, and I just can't say enough about Star. Like I said, I would pack up in a minute and go live in Mexico if I saw that it was possible to learn all of that. But my path keeps calling me in a different direction. And so, although that would be a dream come true, and not to say that it won't happen in the future, but right now, it's in the now and what I need to do for right now. But there are 10 basic things that for a healer they need to remember at all times. And these things I kind of review with myself ever so often, because we're all human, and humans are far from perfect, and we have egos, and for the healer, the ego has to be put aside, because it's in the ego that the problems tend to arise with the situation. The reason that I'm bringing this up is because the reason these people were seeking me out was because of problems of ego that others in our community were having, and they were starting to see the energy not where it should be for a healer. So the 10 basic things for every healer to remember are: number 1, a healer should never forget that they are the vessel or the channel and nothing else. The healer does not determine the outcome of a healing. The client and the spirit do. If a body is not willing to accept the healing, no healing shall occur. If a body does heal, then you can sincerely reassure the person receiving the treatment that it is their own desire to heal in conjunction with spirit's energy and cellular reactivation of the internal healer inside themselves, which has been initiated and which does the main portion of the healing process. This keeps you, the healer, at once both humble and grateful in the face of what transpires, while also providing you with the freedom and honor to witness miracles at work, whether that be the miracle of the body or any other context you wish to ascribe by your own definition of miracle. Number 2, all people and all bodies are different. Therefore, what technique or position works best on one may not be the most effective for another. This comes into play a lot because we are taught, when we're taught, very specific hand movements, or, each modality is different, but in like the form of Reiki, it is hand modalities and where you place the hand. But once you become very integrated with the Reiki energy, you learn to trust that you understand that certain positions work better for the integration of the energy that you are allowing into someone else's body or into your own. And those start to become very unique to the healer. It is one of the things that, even though you may be attuned to whatever healing modality that you are, it takes time to learn your own skill and craft. Just like with magic or with any other type thing you're doing, there is a time of, you get the attunements and you're all, this. There comes a time of the learning process, it's separate and apart because the attunements are just the beginning of the path. It's not the end of the path. So you're constantly learning new things, and you're constantly understanding, possibly, not everybody, but possibly the gifts that are being entered into your body and awakened, and then you need to make sense of those before you speak them out loud to other people who you may not be interpreting them properly, and you may actually do harm to the person you're speaking of those to. Not everybody comes from a magical background, so they're not always willing to hear certain things. Energy, number 3 is energy, arguably, while having a mind of its own, does not always most efficiently redirect itself to the root or core of an issue. Energy will merely go where the body is most needful. Therefore, the practitioner should have knowledge and an intuitive understanding of how to redirect the energy and why. If you do not get to the root cause of the illness with the energetic sessions, this may be because you are not being shown the whole picture, and thus may require several sessions in order to wholly address the client's complaint. 4, you are being allowed a sacred position by a person who agrees to let you be a channel for their energy work. This means that everything which transpires in a session with each individual should receive the utmost respect, and privacy is honored as if the client were opting for a Western medical treatment. Holding somebody's privileged information, it is privileged. It's not something that you should talk about to other people. The client can talk all they want about it, but unless they have given you permission, you should not speak of their healing session whatsoever. 6, or number 5, every single body possesses a wisdom, which therefore can tell you a tale if you know how to listen. Ask questions when appropriate, and work to develop both your knowledge and your intuition to build your skills as a channel for the energy which passes through you. An open mind can be as imperative as an open heart to strengthen your channel for healing energies. Like I said before, you may be attuned, but there is a point in time where the power and energy that you channel has to be learned on how to make it grow and become more powerful. If you are not fully open, even though you have the attunement, say even a Reiki Master attunement, that doesn't mean that the channel is fully opened. It just means that it's open, and that you can fully integrate it, and it will become stronger as you work with it. If you set it on a shelf and you don't work with it, then that channel can narrow. It will stay open. It's there, but it needs to be worked with. And in the working of it, the channel opens wider and wider and allows more power going through it. And the power will not come through. That energy can only come through at a certain rate according to what your personal body can handle. And that's the reason why you need to work with it to learn to harness that energy inside of you so that you get more power running through you as a circuit. You're opening up, you're like an electrical circuit, and you're opening up that channel so that more energy can flow through. The more energy that flows through, the larger the possibilities of healing are for you as well as the client that you're working on. Because for every time a healer gives a healing, they receive one as well. So it becomes, it's not something that you have to do. It is just something that the more you do work with it, you will realize the power grows within you. Number 6, some people are naturally more sensitive to energy than others. This is not a determining factor on whether the client will receive a healing or not. Some will report great success in terms of relief of symptoms or a lessening of their issues, after a span of time has passed. This is what is called integrating the energy. Just because you had even an attunement, there is time that passes, that the integration of the energy. It is, like I was talking about, an opening of the channel. The channel will be open small at first, and it grows in size in time. Number 7, many people have allergies and sensitivities. So please be thoughtful and inquire as to whether any specific scents tend to create an issue for someone. Often, as an example, individuals receiving chemotherapy become very sensitive and easily nauseated by scent, or so unscented products are usually your best bet for the first session until the recipient can assure you that they are not experiencing any atypical sensitivity to odors. Oftentimes there will be people that will come to you and they will have migraines, they will have flat out allergic reactions. So you cannot have incense or essential oils going until you know what the issue is that you are working on that client, and you know that it will not harm them. To be in a closed room with incense going is going to be really bad for someone who has lung issues. So if they have asthma or allergies or any kind of the pulmonary issues, there's going to be an issue if you block them up in a small confined room when the temperature starts rising in the room just on the energy itself, and then you've got incense going and they will not be able to breathe. Not a good combination. Never also have essential oils on your hands if you're going to place your hands on them, especially their face, where the skin is more sensitive. You need to know that that person is not got a sensitivity to those essential oils. Sometimes the sensitivity is to the smell themselves, or they have specific smells that they can't deal with. But sometimes it's the very nature of putting the essential oils on the hands and then placing them on the face that will cause a reaction to the skin. So we have to be cautious of those kind of things. A lot of times, if you've never experienced allergies or sensitivities like that, it's not something that you think of, but you need to always be aware of if you're going to work on individuals, because they're coming to you generally because things are not right with their body. So you have to make sure that these are not going to make them worse instead of better, because that's the whole purpose of the healing. 8. Judge not any who have emotional releases while receiving a treatment. Receiving intense energetic sessions may trigger deep, unforeseen, and unanticipated releases, which are imperative to the rebalancing process. Please be kind enough to allay any concern or embarrassment with a client that a client experiences by helping them to understand what is happening to them and why. This is very, very important, because in the time that I have been working as a healer, I have had 4 cases of mental illness, and that is a very particular problem. I've dealt with an autistic child. That's another issue. I have had emotional breakdowns of people who have been going through something very rough, and that would be the very reason why they wanted to receive the treatment to begin with. You need to have enough empathy, which hopefully as a healer you would naturally have that, compassion, and it helps that I've had psychological backgrounds. I've studied psychology and philosophy for many a year, probably around 30-40 years, because it was a natural interest of mine. It was what I wanted to go and get my degree in. The degree fell through the years because of just life circumstances, but luckily I have a repertoire of background on dealing with that kind of thing. Not everybody does, and I've just recently heard of an experience of a Reiki master attuning a person to her Reiki 1, and in the course of the class basically became jealous of a Reiki 1 who hadn't even been attuned yet. She was just going through the class with a group of women. So this lady did this in front of all of the women and basically melted down on the fact that this Reiki 1 person had a natural gift and was asking a specific question on, what do you do if this happens? And she goes, why are you asking that? And she goes, because I just keep getting this need to do this. And she goes, that's an advanced skill, and basically proceeded to make her cry in her Reiki 1 attunement, and then apologize for having natural gifts and abilities. This is why I say and talk about the letting go of the ego. You can hold a master's in Reiki, but that does not make you fully qualified. She had not worked enough on putting aside her ego when it came to everyone comes with natural gifts and abilities. It's not just the Reiki itself. The Reiki is one thing, and you don't have to have a single gift or ability to go with it. But if you have natural gifts and abilities, and you're going to be more attuned to being a healer than some other people, and to this master coming from a place of ego did this. Now this is a local person again, like I said. There were some local issues going on in the community, and this is one of the things that precipitated some people starting to come to me. I have a reputation in the community, but I don't go out and actively pursue these classes and stuff because I'm fully content helping people every day in my job. I have a job that integrates very well with my lifestyle because it is a job that actually provides people with empowerment to take control of their lives and be healthy as well. So my life is already kind of fully integrated into what I believe in my healing system. So although my reputation is out there, because I know all of these people that are out there trying to make their living at this, I'm now starting to see some of the backlash, and this ego thing has even gone to the point of them attacking the actual master that actually attuned them, and me. And I can't say enough about Helen Warren and her attunements and her classes and everything, but they seem to be doing the turning on of people so that they can build their own practices and trying to tear hers down in the process. That is an ego trip. That is a very self-centered place, and I won't have any one of those women touching me ever again. Even though they've not done any of this to me, they have shown me what their underlying moral code is. And the problem is, when you're playing in someone's energy field, you can inflict harm by inflicting your stuff you don't have under control. Just like in magic, you're working in someone else's etheric body, you can leave stuff. It is very important to know the healer that you have entrusted to get inside your aura. I still even have issues, even though my sister in town is a very renowned hypnotherapist. The problem is, I grew up with my sister. And we were 7 years apart, so we have a little animosity going, at times. We have sibling rivalry going on and stuff like that. And I still won't let her hypnotize me because I don't want her in my head. I don't want her energy in my head. Because although I love my sister, and I know my sister loves me, I know our history, and I would have to have someone I trusted inside the room to stop her from doing something, just to assure me that nothing was going to happen. And my sister is not that way. It really isn't. But in the back of my head, I'm like, yeah, I don't think I want my sister in my head. These are kind of things that you have to look at as a healer and really work on yourself and put aside the ego. You can have the ego later, but not while you're being the healer, not while you are being that vessel. Because just because you're just the vessel of the energy going in, that doesn't mean that you can't mix your stuff inside at the same time. We all know that, working with magic, that is a very big possibility. So, being magic workers on top of being healers lets us in on certain secrets that not all healers understand and realize. And just like the principle of Oho, you can negatively impact the client even when you're not wanting to. So you really need to check your emotions, your emotional state upon working on somebody, and check your ego at the door. It is most imperative. And if you can't do that, you shouldn't touch somebody else with this. You shouldn't, because you can throw other things off into the healing. Number 9, proper intake procedures are as important in an energy session as they are in any other healing practice. If someone reports an issue to you, you can be sure you are meant to heed it. Example, some souls cannot endure touch, either because of physical pain or because they are uncomfortable with touch of strangers. Please honor this, even while you open yourself to intuit ways in which to help the client to overcome this potential challenge. Number 10, aftercare is as important as the treatment. Clearly defined rules are best provided to the client prior to a session, already on paper, so that they can refer back to this sheet in case of questions. If some may experience a toxic release, but you have not explained it thoroughly or completed the follow-up too soon following a treatment, where the person may not be fully mentally present yet, back into their whole body, because sometimes you leave the body while you're actually experiencing a healing. Then you may accidentally create needless worries, upsets, fears, confusion for them should they experience a toxic release. Sometimes it makes them feel like they're getting the flu and stuff. So they may be feeling like you have created a problem where a problem didn't exist before. Please create a document which clearly outlines the aftercare instructions to help ease the client's mind, and the processing, as well as helping to avoid any possible issues which generate the need of the participant to follow up with you via phone calls or to make unwarranted accusations against you later. Example, upon completion of some energetic sessions, a client may experience a brief bout of diarrhea, which is simply a blocked chakra way of removing toxic buildup. If dealing with either the sacral or the solar plexus blockages, this is very common. But if you don't have enough experience as a healer, or you haven't actually addressed this with the clients before, they may think that you have done something that actually caused this that was not beneficial to them. An explanation well made in advance can allay worries, and that the person is suffering unduly, since this period generally lasts only 24 hours or less. There are exceptions to this rule, but also, just like if you've ever received a massage can release toxins, especially through the lymphatic system that is finally moving. And if it's been stagnant for a while, toxins can be built up in different places. Reiki can also unlock these. Quantum touch can unlock these. Stars treatments, the vibrational healing, can unlock these. So if you start feeling like you've got flu-like symptoms, it could just be a release of toxins. But if you've not addressed that, or they're not familiar with healings and they have never had a massage, or they're not actually, if you have not addressed this, they now think that you've actually implanted illness where illness it may not have been in that state at that point, and they don't recognize it as part of the process of letting go. So you really need to basically protect yourself and your reputation by taking the aforementioned things, where you're actually making a document that goes through some of the things that can happen. Also, to tell them to drink plenty of water, to ground after a little bit of time after the energy session. Grounding can be very important. I tend to try to go as long as possible before I ground after an energy healing, but that's not always possible. This time I managed to not have to ground until well after the evening hours. I had it at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I basically didn't ground until I went to bed that night. Now, I was very protected in my environment so that I was not open to a lot of negative input or anything like that while I was that open. I basically just let the energy continue to do its work on me, and I stayed extremely spacey and would trance out most of the day as all of these different points were integrating in. I also was continuing to get more and more messages, and that was why I didn't want to ground at that moment in time, because things were starting to come to me and I was still being an open channel at that moment myself, and I was busy writing those messages down. So if a person needs to go back to work or needs to, it would be very smart to allow them to know that they should drink plenty of water first, and then once they get to a certain point, they may want to eat a solid meal. The act of eating something more than just like a salad or fruit is going to ground them, and when they have that more solid meal, that will be a way of really fully opening them back up to themselves, instead of being in the more trance-like state or the state of the energy. The energy will still be there, kind of integrating, but there is an opening of the crown chakra and the third eye, oftentimes, and the heart chakra, and they need to, they can be too open for a little while after a healing until they go back into their normal positions. So I just thought I would go through some of the things that were associated with healers and healing work, whether you are going to look into being a healer or just want to receive some healings from someone, some little points that you can use to make better decisions on who you choose to be, someone who's going to work on your field, someone who is going to also attune you. Just like with anything else, reputations, need to be solid, and you just don't want just anybody inside your auric field if you do not have any level of trust with that person. But that's all I have for today, and I hope that all of y'all have a very blessed Sunday. I will be coming back shortly. I don't know how long it'll take me, but to get ready for the full moon energies. Next month has also a blue moon on top of that, so we have 2 full moons and a new moon for the month of July, so that is going to be awesome. And there's also more energy opening up for that. Blue moon is going to have some very big intuition opening up for a lot of people. So that's just a little bit of what I have for you, and y'all have a blessed day, and thanks for joining me.